What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. My name is Quentin Flores. This is Uncut with Q. And guys, in this podcast, we talk about all things business, all things entrepreneurship, mindset, personal development, overcoming hardships, and all of the sorts. And I'm your host, guys. I'm super excited about this. Welcome to the motherfucking show. This is my good friend, by the way. What's up, dude? How you doing?
Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
I'm excited to have you here, dude.
Yeah, it's gonna be
For
awesome.
everybody that doesn't know you, man, introduce yourself to the world.
So I'm Skylar Moon. Find me on Instagram and everywhere else at Skylar B Moon on all the social platforms. I'm just a normal guy, dude. Normal guy doing business, trying to make a dollar here and there, hustling.
I love how humble you are about this. No, I love it too, bro. Like straight up, like I love to fish, guys. I'm a huge fisherman. This only happened about 60 days ago. And when you make a lot of money, no offense, but we just fucking do. Yeah. We make moves. Yeah. I'm not trying to be snobby about it, but you really just start getting into shit that you weren't able to afford back then.
Yeah.
You didn't have the time and you didn't have the money to afford common things that everybody else can afford because we were always broke building our businesses. And so I love to go fishing, right? And so Skylar put me on his fucking guest list and he lives in the best fucking neighborhood in San Antonio. And so we went in today and yeah, man, we were catching fish back to back and we may have gotten kicked out.
A great place to fish too.
It is an amazing place to fish. I had a great time, dude. So Skylar, bro, man, it's honestly insane having you on the show, dude. I hit you up like a couple weeks ago and you were totally about it. And here we are, man.
First podcast, by the way.
This is your first one?
First time, yeah.
Dude, I'm honored to pop the podcast cherry.
Dude, so here with you.
I like starting these things out like more or less because a lot of people that join the show, you know, most of the time they're looking for something that's more than what they're currently doing. Right. They're in the place right now where they're trying to grow, they're trying to expand, they're trying to learn some things, right? And so first and foremost, man, what is it that you have going on right now? Give the audience an idea of what it is you have going on.
I'm in a lot of different things, man. I'm my number one primary focus is Desire Nightclub. So if y'all haven't been out to Desire Nightclub, I am the owner, the one and only guy. Everybody claims to be a part owner or investor or whatever, but I'm the guy behind Desire Nightclub. I'll get into the story later about how it came about. It's a wild story. But that's my number one focus right now. So the main operating business I have, got a couple other businesses. Laundromats, I'm in that business, a good passive business. You know, once you get over the hurdle, you get it started and get it going. You got a team in place. I mean, it pretty much runs itself. People go in, drop their clothes, drop a couple quarters, and, you know, it's done from there. So that's a fun, easy business. I enjoy that one. I'm really looking to expand that business.
What got you into doing laundromat stuff?
So, you know what, just researching online. You know, good passive income opportunities. And one of my mentors that I'm under, he was in the laundromat business. And so I said, let me look into it, just did my research. And I mean, it's easy money. So it's about average here in Texas, about a 20 to 30% return on money. So I said, you know, that's like real estate can't get you that. A lot of operating businesses can't get you that. And it's almost no work.
Wow.
So I said, you know, I got to try this thing. So I got my first one last year. And I mean, it was exactly what everybody preached. I mean, I don't know if I got lucky with a good one or what, but I mean, it was, you know, exactly what everybody was telling me about. And so now I'm on a mission to my goal is to get within the next 3 years, to get 10 units and own at least 50% of the real estate, because that's the sweet spot. When you can have people coming in every month, giving you that money for the operating part of the business, and then you own the building as well, and you get the, you know, the synergies of owning that building.
I love that.
That's the sweet spot, yeah.
I have a mentor, bro. His name's Preston Brown. I'll have him on the show after you. He's a phenomenal dude, brother.
Nice.
He owns a whole commercial building. The entire upstairs is his whole operation. So it's like, I don't know, there's probably about maybe 18 different commercial spaces inside of this building. 9 are upstairs, 9 are downstairs. And he leases the entire bottom to pay for everything upstairs. And so, I mean, it's almost like business hacking.
I mean, so even with the nightclubs, I would love to own the building, you know, where any new endeavors would go. But that's a lot harder. I mean, it's you'd have to get a huge chunk of land. I was just talking about that with somebody last night, that they said, why don't you just buy a spot here in town, just open up your own spot? So San Antonio isn't a party city. You know this. It's not like a big party city. You go to Houston, fine, you know, huge party city. You got movie stars and actors and singers.
When I go to your club, it seems like a party city.
It's a cool, our spot's cool.
For not being a party city,
we've definitely
when
turned
I
it
went
up
to
here.
Desire, I had such a good time. I think you guys had the DJ for Tekashi 6ix9ine that was there.
Yeah.
And, you know, it was it was straightforward. The staff was on it. I saw like literally everybody in there having a good time. There was a moment where the DJ played a song from Juice World.
Yeah.
And bro, I saw
Everybody just went
all
nuts.
the cameras and the lights, and it was a whole moment. My wife and I were there. We started recording because we remember those moments in that nightclub, because that nightclub had failed so many times, bro. And you're the first person in a whole decade that I have attended that nightclub that I see that's doing it the way that it should have been
It's a vibe,
done.
man. Yeah, it's a vibe out there. So I mean, my background's in retail, to be honest. I didn't have any night. I mean, I would go out here and there, and I like to travel to Vegas. Obviously, you get a lot of exposure to what the right nightlife looks like, right? But economics are totally different in Vegas than in San Antonio, right? So we had to find a way to how do you create the experience? What do people want? So we actually, when we first started shooting out our marketing campaigns, we marketed ourselves as like the first Vegas style nightclub. So what does that mean, right? It's all the production, the amazing bottle service, the great service that you get from the girls that are there. So we just put that together. Like I said, I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, like I said, I'll get later into the story later on. But I mean, we just looked at the model, knew what we wanted to be, executed well on how to get there, and it worked out really well. Yeah,
Dude, I love it, bro. I love it.
We got lucky with a lot of things. It's been there for 10 years. There's a lot of recognition already. So it's not like we went out, ventured off to some new spot. We were the only standalone, had to drive the traffic. So we've got some synergy and some stuff that helps. So we've got 3 other clubs in the shopping center, bars, clubs that are there. So it's already traffic. But yeah, we definitely turned the spot around, and I mean, we probably 10x what they were doing.
I'm almost
I took
positive,
it over.
bro. I had never seen it like that. I would go on Saturdays because it'd be rave night.
Yeah.
And I just felt like they didn't really know how to pivot into it. And on top of that, it was like getting in was tough. And then once you were in, it was like you get the bottle service, and then the lady wouldn't come and check up on you.
Right.
And then next thing you know, we're waiting a whole hour and a half before this lady can come through and realize that we've emptied our bottle.
Sure.
There's no upsells, right? There's no like lighting. Like I feel like
Right.
that club, dude, it looks nothing like I remember it in any kind of way.
So it's funny you say that. So my vision, when we first went in there, it was just me and one friend of mine. We didn't have a contractor. We didn't have an engineer. We didn't have anybody. We went in there, bought it. It was December 2nd of 2020. I'll never forget the story. And so we go in there, sign the contract, and we went to Lowe's and bought a couple of sledgehammers. And I told my friend, I said, here's my vision. Here's what I want. I don't know how we're going to set everything. I don't know where the DJ booth's going to go. I don't know any of the details. I said, the only thing I want to do is if you put somebody in a blindfold and put them in this building, by the time we're done, I want them to have no idea where they're at. Because I want it to look totally different from anything it was before. So I don't know if you remember, there was a big tree outside on the patio, right?
I remember that.
I mean, it was a huge, I don't know what it was, 20, 25 foot tall
Completely
tree.
pointless
Been there
tree.
for 10 years. It went with the original theme. But, I mean, just now at a nightclub, it just didn't really make sense. I knew I wanted a rage-in nightclub. I didn't want, a bar feel or nothing like that. We wanted it to be, a full-on nightclub. And so I said, we got to get it taken down. And so that was probably the hardest part of things. I mean, that was like a 1,200-pound tree or 2,000-pound tree.
huge,
It's huge,
bro.
yeah. It was made out of, like, I don't know if it was concrete or what it was made of, but I mean, it was a solid structure that had been up there for, over a decade, like you said.
Yeah.
And so funny story with that. Shout out to Terman Furman. He actually owns Terran downtown. He owns Elsewhere. So he was the original guy that bought that tree in 2009 when it was ivy rooftop. And so when it was ivy, it went with it, right? It was a lot of plants, a lot of greenery. And so funny story, but a mutual friend of ours hooked us up, and he wanted it for Elsewhere because Elsewhere had only been open, I don't know, 6 months or a year or so, and they were still adding stuff onto it. And I said, dude, if you can get that tree down, you can have it. So he ended up, I think, when he first purchased it in 2009, it was funny because he called the original banker from 11 years ago. He paid $52,000 for that tree to be installed up there. Insane.
$52,000.
Insane. Yeah.
Why?
He was passionate about the tree, man. So, I mean, have you been elsewhere downtown? You know which spot I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So it's a lot of same thing. A
It's
lot
nice.
of greenery, a lot of Instagrammable spots. And so sure enough, he paid a guy like $10,000. They took it apart into like 4 different pieces, put it on an 18-wheeler, hauled it down to Elsewhere. So it's actually at Elsewhere today. If you go down to Elsewhere, it's one of their centerpieces down there.
The same tree.
So, same tree.
That
it's
is
been in
so
use for,
funny.
over a decade now. It's still standing. So crazy story.
$56,000 to put a tree in there.
Yeah,
that is
wild.
crazy to me,
Yeah.
man. Dude, so you had the laundromat business, and then you have the nightclub.
I've got those 2 operating businesses. I do some hard money lending to a local developer here in town that develops shopping centers. He's done Park North across the street, City Base West, City Base Landing, a lot of big centers that are, staples here in San Antonio. So I do some hard money lending with those guys. Dabbled in real estate here and there. I'm not, it's a great business, honestly, but it just was never my thing. But my start was in retail. So, I mean, I'll get, if you want to get into the store, I can get into my whole how it started and where I came from and everything.
It honestly tripped me out when he told me that I was older than you.
Yeah, we're right there.
We've never met really until recently because of our mutual friend, Michael Yanes.
Right. Shout out to Mike.
Yeah, shout out to Mike, man. Turn up the hustle. But I started getting to know you because we became friends on Facebook, and I see all these amazing things that you're doing, and I'm baffled, man. So like it has been like, I don't know what, a couple of months that we've been associated from the nightclub to all these other things that you have going on. You said you got into retail first, and that's kind of what birthed that?
That's where it came from. So I'll give you the long story short. I had a great childhood, best parents in the world.
It's beautiful,
but
man.
I was probably still am, very stubborn, right? I want my way. I know what I want, and I'm going to get it, whatever. And so I actually moved out of my house when I was 15 years old with nothing. I remember the night I walked out, wrote a letter to my mom and dad, put it on the counter, left my dog behind, left the family behind, had 2 bags on my shoulders, and just walked out.
They didn't kick you out.
I left. I
went
left.
On your own, and you had amazing parents.
Had amazing parents. We lived on a golf course, had the life. I was homeschooled, got to get out of school by 10 a.m.
What made you make that decision at 15?
I knew what I wanted. I wanted to prove myself, and I wanted to get out. And there were some conflicts. Obviously, we had some inner conflicts and whatnot. But so I made up my mind, and obviously it took some real thinking. But I was always ahead of my age. So even at 15, I felt like I was like 30, right? Had, like I said, a real good upbringing. But I was always different as a kid. And my dad tells this story all the time. So I don't know, we're 8, 9, 7 years old. Whenever you go to birthday parties and they have like the bouncy houses and stuff.
Yeah.
So, you go out and all the kids would jump in, want to jump and play. I'd go around to the back and say like, how the hell is this thing working? Like, what's keeping it up? And how does it, So I was always just curious, right? I was always curious about stuff. When I was 11 years old, I got introduced to the stock market. My aunt was a lifelong stockbroker for Dane Rauscher in Houston, and so I'd always heard about it, going to family events and stuff like that. I heard my dad was sending money here and there, and so I was always interested in it. So I started buying some stocks way back then. And then at 12 years old, I opened up an eBay business. eBay was popping. I mean, this was like 2006, 7, whatever it was. And so eBay was brand new. Everybody was doing it. Everybody was figuring out how to make money on it. And so I would advertise myself. I would sell whatever you had, no matter what it was. I sold anything from buckets of used golf balls to copper wire chests. I mean, anything you could imagine. I was selling people's clothes, whatever. And so in the first 12 months, at 12 years old, I want to say I sold like $90,000 worth of stuff on eBay, and I'd keep 10% of it. So I'm making money. I'm like 12, and I'm figuring out different ways, whether it's a market, whether it's eBay. I was mowing lawns, lemonade stands. I mean, anything you could imagine, I was in it. So I was always just, as a young guy, naturally as a hustler. But the crazy thing was, I was the most introvert you ever met in your life, ever. I wouldn't talk to anyone. So it's kind of weird because, I mean, how are you this entrepreneur guy, but you don't talk to anyone? And so, like, I vividly remember we were at a restaurant right here on San Pedro, actually, and we'd go after church to lunch or whatever, and my mom would tell me, if you don't order from the waitress, you're just not going to eat. And I just wouldn't eat because I don't want to talk to anybody. I mean, I was just that much of an introvert.
Holy shit.
So it was crazy, dude.
You're like, I'd rather starve to death than talk to anybody.
No, honestly, I was like, I'll just wait till I get home. I'll eat something when I get to the house. And so anyway, that's kind of a weird kid. Very nerdy, very, very, very nerdy, very introverted, very to myself. Even with my family, I was never really like, I've got an older brother, an older sister, and a younger sister. We all grew up, all 4 of us in the same house. And I was just always in my own world, man. I really wasn't like, I did have a best friend, one of our neighbors, and I did, I wasn't like a loner. I did have some friends and stuff, but I mean, even at like family function stuff, I was just by myself. And so I don't know, I was 15, had some issues with the folks, and I said, you know what, I'm going to make this move. And so I moved out, didn't have anything. I took I remember it was like $362, weird number. But I had that much money. The first day I went to a Cricket wireless store, had to have a phone, didn't have any phone. So I bought the phone for like $300, paid the first month plan the activation, had not a penny to my name. So I'm like, shoot, I got to figure something out. So I actually, because at the time I was homeschooled, so I actually missed about 6 months of school because I wasn't talking. So even though I moved out and I wasn't talking to my parents, and so you can't get into a public school without them signing the paperwork.
Wow.
And so it was weird times. A couple years it was just real weird. My grandmother ended up getting me signed in, went going to Wagner High School. Shout out Wagner Thunderbirds. Graduated there, and I was great at school, just hated it. Didn't like being there. I had to be on the move, had to be making money. So during those last 2 years of high school, I worked at the Woodlake Golf Course from 4 in the morning to 7, mowing the lawns, mowing the greens or whatever. Get on the school bus, go to school, do that, come out. Then I'd go mow lawns at the neighborhoods that were around, bought a lawnmower, had a guy finance me a lawnmower. I didn't have any money to buy a lawnmower from Sears.
Wow.
So financed a lawnmower, doing that. So I did that for like a whole year and a half, 2 years during the last 2 years of high school, junior and senior year. And so I'm on this job at one of the neighborhoods out there, and I ran over my cell phone, fell in my pocket and ran over it. I'm like, dude, my luck just can't turn around, dude. I'm like, I'm down on my luck. I'm down bad.
What kind of phone was it?
It was a Cricket phone, just a flip phone. I mean, you're talking like 2008. So, I mean, there wasn't barely any smartphones out. I mean, there was no great phones. It was a flip phone from Cricket, ran over it. And so I'm just like, crap, dude.
Those
my
phones
luck
broke like a motherfucker.
Oh, yeah.
Too,
no,
bro.
easy, especially when it gets eaten by the lawnmower. So the lady that owned the neighborhood association, she had the contract she gave me. She was nice enough to hook me up with a guy, Robert Garza. And he owned a Pocket store in town. And he said, yeah, man, I can get you. I'll flash you over a phone from Cricket to Pocket.
I loved Pocket, bro.
Yeah, man.
That's what I had.
He got bought out by Cricket, but yeah, Pocket was here. Paul Posner, local guy in town, got that company started. Cool business. So he takes me to his store and says, yeah, you pick out a phone, this, that, and the other. I'll hook you up. You know, maybe mow on the lawn a couple times. We'll work it out. And so I looked at him and I started seeing this store he's got. It's over on Guadalupe Street on the west side. And Guadalupe and Zarzamora. Yeah, Guadalupe and Zarzamora.
That's hood.
Robert de la Garza. Yeah, I'll never forget this guy. And so we're there, and I'm looking around like, man, this guy's making money. It's just selling phones. So anyways, I was thinking. So I'm out mowing my lawns. And so I don't even remember the exact details of it. Somehow it came about to where I started selling him phones. I'd buy the LG, what is it, the chocolate ones slide up and down?
I remember those, yeah.
I'd buy those on eBay, going back to my eBay days, for $90, and I'd sell them to him for $115. And so, I mean, there's, $25 profit. Easy
money.
Whereas I'd mow a lawn for an hour, busting ass in the sun for a $30 profit. So I said, I got to figure out a way to scale this thing, man. So I started selling it more and more, and I started finding other sources to get them cheaper, and blah, 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 blah. So one thing led to the next, and so now I'm the cell phone guy. Mowing lawns during the daytime, quit the golf course things. That was, a waste of time. And so now I'm the cell phone guy. So I remember at Wagner High School, I'd go around, I'd have iPods in my backpack, I'd have iPhones, I'd have whatever you wanted. And so during breaks and stuff, I'm slinging electronics. I'm helping you unlock your iPhone, flash your phone.
What?
And so, yeah, dude, it was crazy. Saved up enough cash. I bought my first car cash, 2007 Dodge Ram. So I finally had a way to get around now. So now I'm able to get out of school, this, that, and the other. And so just hustling. I mean, I remember being, it's a funny story. I was just texting him yesterday, Justin Vitek, who owns Hills and Dales. I was 18 years old, and Justin was one of my customers, met me on Craigslist. And he needed me to unlock an iPhone, so I went over here on Broadway to the, remember Hangar Bar? Or the Hangar or whatever it was? And so he was managing that place. I did a phone for him, and here we are. I own Desire now, and he owns Hills and Dales. So, I mean, it's just, we've known each other for probably 13 years through that business, and here we are, years later. So it's just wild. So anyways, graduated 2009 from Wagner, and I said, I'm going to do my own store. So right there on Walsham and Montgomery, where the HEB meets, crazy deal. Shopping center, run down, kind of beat up. Get in contact with the landlord. Hey, I want to rent a space from you. You got any space? Yeah, 900 square feet. How much is it? I don't know what it was, like $600-700 a month. Cool. How does it work? I mean, I'm 18, out of high school. I know nothing about real estate. I don't have much money. Got a couple grand saved up. That's it. Well, do you have any credit? I don't know. Check it. Here you go. Got any money? Put a deposit down. You have like $500. Cool. How long you want to sign your lease for? Wasn't it like a month to month? I don't know. Dude, I know nothing.
Oh my God.
I know nothing, dude. He's like, well, how about this? We'll give you a 6-month lease, but you need to fix up the space because it was, torn up. And so I go in there, look at it. I'm starting to calculate how much it's going to cost me. I'm going to go to Home Depot, rent this machine, do that, blah, blah, blah. I don't have any money to fix it, bro. What do you propose? I need like 3 months free rent. He gives me a 6-month lease with 3 months free rent. I mean, being in real estate, that doesn't happen ever, right? So it was meant to be. So anyways, long story short, started that up. It was a repair shop, mobile shop. Had a guy from Boost Mobile come contact me. You want to sell Boost phones? Had no idea what it was. It was the chirp back then, right? And so we get into that, and so I signed on as a retailer. They pushed me. We don't want you to do all this flashing and unlocking stuff. We want you to do just us. And so I started off retail stores with them, and over the last 12 years, I opened up 42 stores with those guys, all across Texas, Laredo, Brownsville, McAllen, Del Rio, Eagle Pass, San Antonio.
All cell phone companies.
All cell phone companies, man.
That is
National
insane.
Wireless Carrier, yeah. So that's where my background was. So I did that all the way up. That's the only thing I did. I dabble in little stuff here and there, But, that was my main source of income all the way up till COVID came. And so, I really didn't do anything, never in the nightlife, never in the laundromats, never in, I was still day trading here and there, right, making some side money. But, my main focus was that it was a big operation. At one point, we had, 40 stores open at one time. We had 160-something employees all across Texas. So, it was a big operation from being a guy that knew not even how to sign a lease to sign it. I was my own broker on every deal I did. I was my own GC on every deal I did. I just learned by real world experience.
We call that the school of hard knocks.
That is
man.
The school of hard knocks. Yeah, yeah. I've got a PhD in the streets. It's, never stepped a foot into college, never took a single class, not an online thing, didn't do anything, just straight from high school, started that one store, one thing led to the next. And so that's how I got pretty much to where I'm at today. COVID happened, And I could kind of, so my one good thing I'm really good at is foreseeing like the next 5 years. I've always focused on, don't worry about today. What's happening in the next 5, 10 years. And so that's where I left off. That one store I had on Walzum, I knew it wasn't going to be, you can't copy and paste the repair model because you are the guy doing the repairs. You are the guy making the money. And so if you try to copy and paste, it's really difficult. So I said, I want to go with the national company, even though it was making me a lot less. I can copy and paste this and do it a bunch of times. And so that was the foresight that I had back then. And so COVID was coming and I had some foresight and I said, this thing's probably not going to be pretty. So I sold off around 60% of the stores I had in one big shot. Found a guy, got lucky, sold it off, and then I had a bunch of cash sitting there. So I really didn't do much during COVID. I sold them June 1st of 2020. Same year COVID happened. I mean, right in the heart of it, Took the summer off, didn't really do much, and then this is where desire comes. Winter comes. You can't get on a boat, can't do anything. So I'm like, dude, I'm at the gym, I'm pumping iron, I'm bored. I'm like, what am I going to do? I got all this money. My other business is on autopilot. My same guys that were running 40 stores are now running 14. They can handle it. I really don't have to do much. Got on a couple Zoom calls. I want to do something fun. So me and my buddy, who I was telling you about, we're at the gym. And let's do something. Let's do a car lot. Boring. Let's do a restaurant. Super boring. How about a bar? Oh, yeah, we're going to do a bar. So that same night, we leave Lifetime at like midnight. We go downtown and, because downtown's empty now. So we're looking at all the great spots that are on the river, this, that, and the other. Long story short, I got connected with the guy that owns Lush at the time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Lush Rooftop. Yeah. Isn't it a rooftop as well?
That's where Desire is, yeah. So that was the Desire spot.
Oh, that was Desire. That's right.
So I get in touch with the guy, down on his luck, super hard time, super behind on rent, a couple bills. And I said, let me make you an offer. Let's get this thing going. So I made him an offer. And that's how it all happened, man. Like I said, I didn't have any engineers, any architects, any designers. We just started one day at a time, talked to the landlord. I said, hey, give me 4 months. Rent abatement, let me shut it down, close it, change the name. And so, the logo, for example, the nice Cool Desire logo, it's the same font as the Euphoria show. So I'm just getting ideas from the real world, man, just seeing what was popular then. Euphoria is popular. Cool, let's take the logo from there, let's put it Desire. Desire came about, just me and a buddy texting. There was no research, no nothing. We're just popping names around from different clubs we'd seen around the country. And Desire wasn't out there, but it was just a name that we really liked. Man, that sounds like a kind of Vegas-ish nightclub.
I love it.
Vibe. And everybody
Once I
loves
found
it.
And I did the Google reviews on it, I was absolutely blown away. I was like, where is this in San Antonio?
Yeah, so that's the cool part, man. I got to take all those 12 years of experience in the retail world and apply some of that stuff. So, you need great online presence, right? You need great social media marketing. I think when I took over Lush, it had 1,500, 2,000 followers. We've got, it's like 12,000 followers now. So it's not crazy, but in natural organic growth, we're not paying for followers. We just got naturally people that come in, liking us, following us, sharing our page and stuff like that. So applying that stuff, applying the upselling, like you said, with the bottle service. So just applying those basic kind of retail sales stuff into the nightlife. And then obviously taking some ideas we've got from other places. That's how Desire came about. And then the laundromat, I'm still doing, the day trading and stuff. So,
you know what I love about that, Skylar? There's this formula that I was given from my mentor, and you've literally been living it this entire time. And he says to scale a business, it starts with these 3 concepts. It's simplicity, alignment, and foresight.
Yep.
So simplicity is when you take what everybody else thinks is extremely hard to do, and you add your past experiences from other companies to simplify the process of gaining the exposure. Alignment is when you have the right people on your team and everybody knows what they're supposed to do to make this successful. Yeah. And then the third thing is foresight. Foresight is like when you're literally looking at what's going to happen in the future, and you're structuring a pivot where everybody else is running left and you're going right.
And I think that's why I'm so good at day trading too, because trading is nothing else but looking to the future. What's going to happen? COVID comes. What's going to hit? What's going to go down? Sell it, right? What's going to rebound in a couple of months? Airlines aren't going away, right? They're going to be down for a while, but they're not going away. So if they're on a 70% cut, buy them. You're not going to not have American Airlines, right? You're going to not fly. People are going to not stop. They're going to stop for a while, but it's not going to go under. They're too big to fail, right? They're going to get bailed out, if anything, right? Just like the banks. So I think that's why I'm good at trading. But it's funny you say that about the simplicity. I can actually, on my personal resume, my personal bio, that, when you go to present to banks or to investors or whatever, you've got some information about yourself. And I think the top thing that says is I like to make complicated things simple. That's why I did so well in retail, because everybody's got these crazy complicated commission structures. Make it simple. Let the reps understand what they're doing. Don't make it so complicated they don't know how to hit their goal. They don't know how to make money. So, I mean, that's the thing I've been really, really good at over the years is taking complicated stuff. And it's funny you mention that because I've never done any of these courses until recently. Recently, you know, obviously I have more time now, so I have time to do the courses and trainings. But I never did sales training. Like I told you, I couldn't even speak to people. But after moving out, you got to figure out, you got to eat, you know, you got to live somewhere. So you got to talk. So I just learned naturally. And, I mean, not to pat myself on the back, but I am a crazy negotiator, a crazy salesperson. It's all just natural. I never took classes. I don't even think I read Art of the Deal until about a year ago. You know?
Wow.
So
that's a good one too.
Yeah, it's a good one.
How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yeah.
You know, Sell or Be Sold. I mean, there's so many different books out there that are like based around sales.
Yeah.
I have to ask, man, because I know that there's a lot of introverted people that listen to this show that don't like to talk to people. So they listen to other people talk, which I think is hilarious.
Yeah.
Well, what was the breakthrough in that? Like, how did you go from being the introvert, Mr. Moon, to boom, this guy that I literally see you like at this club and everybody's, I remember I was at the end of the night, me and my wife, we were there and we had a damn good time. And they were chanting your name at the end. And it was so awesome, man. I don't even think you were drinking. I don't think I saw a single drink in your hand. And everybody was just like, Skylar, Moon, Skylar, Moon. And I was like, dude, this is amazing company culture because it was everybody that was on your team. And it was one hell of a night. There was a lady that was there that spent $10,000+ that very night. And you guys had gave her a shout out. On stage. The DJ gave her a shout out. I never seen the club do that before on people who spent 10. I used to go in there with my drug dealer homeboys and I dropped 20 bands in one night, bro. And I never got any sort of recognition. Not even, you know what I mean? And I love that that was such an important thing because not only did that lady invest into the product, she got recognition. And when you create recognition and you acknowledge somebody's effort and investment into your business, that is when you create the reciprocation of customers coming back more often because that DJ didn't have to do that. You didn't have to do that. And you made that person feel significant.
Like I said, it's the tiny details, though. They go such a long way, whether it's in sales or the nightclub or wherever. I mean, the tiny details, people just overlook it nowadays, right? And I've done it too, right? We're all busy and we get, you know, tied up and stuff. But, you know, if you've got that opportunity to make the tiny little detail and put that special touch on for somebody, man, it goes a long, long way.
Dude, and it really does, man. So how did you break out of the introvert part of you?
So I don't have like a secret or the secret sauce or this is it. I think it was just, you know, repetition and practice. And I had to, right? I had no choice. I mean, if you're going to make that decision that you're going to be on your own. And so I promised myself, it was a rough time. I didn't talk to my folks for 2 years. Not my brother, not my sister, nobody. I mean, I was on my own for 2 years. My grandmother was there with me. I did eventually ended up moving in with her. And then later on in her life, she ended up moving in with me and took care of her. But I mean, I just had to. I didn't have a choice. And it wasn't like as I grew up, you know, at the time when I moved out, I wasn't as much of an introvert. I had already kind of started getting out of that stuff. Even though I was homeschooled, we would go to this homeschool school once a week where they kind of give you class and give you homework and stuff. So I was around some more kids as I got up to that point. So I wasn't as much of an introvert, but I was still very, you know, I wasn't very cultured at all. We lived in a very religious Christian home. So, you know, no movies, no secular radio, none of that stuff. Yeah. So I was not only was I an introvert, I wasn't aware of what was going on, right? And then living in the 90s, there wasn't no internet. There was, you know, so it was very, you know, growing up in the 90s, early 2000s.
We honestly had it amazing back
I was
then.
just telling somebody about that last night. I think I'd go back. I love it now. Don't get me wrong. But, you know, especially as a kid, I think I'd go back. I don't think I'd want to grow up as a kid this time. You know, it's just so much bullying going on, so much online bullying and stuff like that. I mean, we had it, like you said, we had it made in the 90s. It was beautiful.
It was a good time. It was the time when,
it was slow.
Music was amazing.
Slow. Yeah.
Backstreet Boys had just dropped their first album.
I remember me and my friends would look at, the Britney Spears, man.
Eminem, dude. Eminem was like really good at that time frame, you know, when he was like both Slim Shady and Marshall.
See, the thing, I wasn't able to listen to this
right?
stuff, though. That was the crazy part because we were in that, you know, religious house. We'd have to like sneak and see different things that were going on or whatever. But yeah, it was definitely a fun time, you know. I think you had better friendships back then because you weren't talking to 100 million people. You were with, you know, one or two friends that you were with in person. You weren't, you know, no cell phones. You got to get on the old phone. Hey, where are you going to be at today? Let's go meet up at, you know, wherever. So
I think what really inspires me the most is seeing how people pivot in different directions.
Yeah.
Because for me, man, like growing up, I had extremely rough childhood. But once I got out and I started doing my own thing, you know, like I discovered that I was really good at networking with people through the marijuana industry. And then from moving out of the marijuana industry into network marketing, I killed network marketing. I used to fucking be in a full-blown MLM back in the day, you know? And so we were recruiting people all the time. I was talking with people, getting them to join us, XYZ. And then moving into real estate, I realized making money in real estate was literally talking to people.
Yeah, that's it.
And so I try to put myself in a position where I would meet people more often in that environment where there are other people that are interested in what it is that I'm trying to do as well.
What's the saying? Your net worth is your network.
Yep.
I mean, it's so true. You've got to touch new people every day. Got to meet new people. I mean, that's how you make the money.
It is, dude. You can grow in the right direction if you plant yourself in the correct environment.
As long as you're connecting with the right people. You can connect yourself with a lot of crap people too, and that's not going to get you anywhere. But as long as you got to
just weed through them. That's part of the game.
But yeah. So going back to how I broke out of that, I don't know, man. I just had to do it. Like I said, I wasn't talking to my folks. I didn't really have anybody that in my corner per se. I had friends and stuff that were helping me out, but the majority was just all me. I had to figure it out, and so just putting yourself out there and meeting people, right? Kind of just immersing yourself in situations where you had to do it. Opening my first store, it's not like I was the only employee. There was nobody there to sell for me. There was nobody there, so nobody to answer the phone and talk to the bill collectors or whoever. So I think it was just repetition, man. Just doing it, having to do it, and I guess some natural instinct. I was a good salesperson naturally. Like I said, never took any classes, never watched any YouTube videos. Didn't have time to watch YouTube. I had to make money, had to hustle, had to pay bills. So I think that's the key, just immersing yourself in it, making sure that, putting yourself out there. It's not fun. It's not, easy, but if you want to take yourself to that next level, you got to do it. And I intentionally try to do that. Even today, if I know that I have a fear of something, just do it. I was deathly afraid. It's a dumb story, but I was deathly afraid of needles. I couldn't do it. Couldn't give blood. Couldn't, if I had to get a shot, you'd have to I'd be hyperventilating and stuff.
Yeah.
And then 4 years ago, I needed to start getting allergy shots. So when I got to the doctor, I had to get one in each arm. So 2 shots twice a week for 16 weeks straight. So I was like, oh, shit, do I want to keep struggling with allergies? I had terrible allergies. I'd go through a box of tissues a day, every day.
Yeah, my wife's allergies are terrible, bro.
Yeah, especially living here. San Antonio's the capital city of the world.
I drive a Raptor, bro. It's all decked out, but it's full black, dude, during pollen.
It's terrible.
The whole car turns green.
Yeah. Speaking of the Dominion, Dominion's the absolute worst for that. All the houses, all the cars, everything's just annihilated with pollen.
It's the worst.
So anyway, I said, I got a decision to make. I can either get over it and just get shot up every week for 19 or 16 weeks, whatever it was, or live with allergies. So I just did it, and as the weeks go on, I'm like, dude, this is nothing. So, I think that was a big eye-opener for me, too. I had fear of speaking to people, got over it, fear of public speaking, during my days with Boost. So Sprint owned Boost, right? So I was real big in the Sprint world. I got the opportunity to even meet the CEO of Sprint. Guy was a billionaire.
Wow.
My first billionaire I ever met. Because I was, I took the ranks. I was I want to say the #1 dealer in the country, but I was at least top 5. And I got invited to all the events twice a year. They fly you out to Miami, put you on the yachts, do this, do that, all this stuff. And so I just met a ton of people, but I never really had to speak publicly. Well, once I got up to that level, they wanted you to start speaking. Hey, how did you do this? How do you do that? And so, how do you get over the fear of it? Just do it. Just put yourself out there and just do it. And so that's really been I guess that's the secret. The secret is just do it. It's going to be scary. You're going to screw up. You're going to mess up. But, just put yourself out there, and eventually you get over it. It's like a podcast I watched with, watch Naval.
Yeah.
He was on the Joe Rogan podcast.
Love Joe Rogan's podcast.
That, life is all it's all in between here. It's how you interpret it. Reality is reality. It doesn't change. To a tree, there's no good and bad. There's no right and wrong. There's no scary and, good times. It's just you're born. You have a lot of different, colors and lights and sounds and different stuff that goes on around you. But the way that you interpret it, it's up to you. So, happiness is a choice. Fear is a choice. And so it's all just the way, like you said, it's perspective, the way that you put it. Dude, so the way to get over it, just do it. Just get out there and do it.
You've got to be one of the most laid-back guys that I've had on this podcast, bro. I love how you're just so, chill about this level of success that you've been able to attain.
You know why I think? Is because it doesn't feel like it.
It doesn't. It doesn't.
It doesn't. It just...
I feel the same. I know exactly what you're talking about.
A lot of these people, oh, man, when you get the money, it changes you. Not really. If you're a good person... If anything, it brings out the good attributes in you, right?
It does.
If you're a bad person, you exacerbate it with money, then, at that point, then, they're a worse person. They're probably bad the whole time. They just got worse with money, right? So if you're, like I said, I had a good upbringing, crazy good folks. My folks, by the way, we're great now. We're best friends with my mom, best friends with my dad.
Beautiful.
So that works out real well. But, yeah, I think that it just doesn't feel like it. Yeah, you got the cool cars and the cool houses and the cool stuff. But I'm still the same dude. Like you said, you go to the club, I'll talk to anybody. We first opened, I remember this too, when we first opened for the first probably 3 months, because I want to keep an eye on everything. And the biggest part of the clubs that as a missed opportunity here is the front door. They just let everybody in. Oh, you're my friend. Oh, you're my buddy, or this and this. They miss out a ton of money. I can promise you, not even for a second do I have a doubt, we do the most at our door than any club in town. I don't care if there's a 1,600 capacity club. Our 300 capacity club does way more than anybody because we don't cheat it, right? And so I wanted to be the guy at the front door. So I stood at the door and I would stamp everybody's rent, paid. So I mean, I saw 1,000 people a week, and I don't even know where the heck I was going with that. What were we talking about? Oh, just being cool. So being down to earth. And so I'll be that guy. I don't have to be the guy in the office and the guy up, with the big ego and, oh, yeah, I own the place. People would ask me, I would have guys come up to me, hey, bro, yeah, I know the owner here. Oh, okay, that's cool, bro. Yeah, I'm so glad you're here. Let them know you stopped by, but, you still got to pay the door. No, I'm not paying nothing. Hey, bro, I'm sorry. I'm just here doing a job. People would have no idea who I am, right? Because I'm just that guy. I don't have to be the guy with the big ego and, oh, yeah, I own this place. Who you talking to? Blah, blah, blah. There's so many people like that. I've just never been that guy. And so even with the success and the money and whatever, it's just not me. I'm not that guy. I'm not going to ever be that guy.
I felt the same way, man. It's because we've probably either experienced it or seen it in someone else, what it could do to them.
Yeah.
And we aspire to not be like that.
Exactly.
Like I always tell people, I might not have had the right people around me when I was growing up, but I did have people around me that I didn't want to be like. Because of that, it gave me that push that I needed to get to the level that I've always wanted to be at.
Right.
And, so everybody's a mentor to you. Even the people that you meet inside the club that are just excited to be in your circle, to know you and to be involved with you.
Right.
And it's like people like us, we're so giving. We give it without even realizing it.
Yeah.
Like our circle, our presence, the people that we meet, the people that we're associated with. We're like, oh yeah, man, if you want to learn stock trading, dude, my friend Skylar Moon, he's the guy over here. This is the best dude that you talk to. And then it's like, I didn't even realize that I just gave this dude access to somebody who is very successful.
It could be life-changing for him, right? Yeah.
And that is just unconscious giving. I didn't even think about that. It just happened.
It's natural. Yeah.
It's natural, as it should be, And so I think that's one of the most amazing qualities about you, bro. I love that. You didn't even hesitate when I told you I wanted you on my podcast. We barely talked a few times before this, and having you on here is just like, it's mind blowing, because most people that I talk to, man, they're either real estate investors or they're going through something crazy or they have but this is like entirely new for me, man. Yeah. What do you think was the biggest pivot in your business? Like, I'd say if we were to take all of your businesses and put them in a bucket, and say that this is what you do to make money, where did the pivot happen? Where the actual increase in income came? Where you were like, I know now I could be a millionaire one day.
Yeah. So I always had the goal, because I've always got goals. I said, and I'm not this guy. I don't have a bunch of handwritten goals. I know what I want to do right now. At the beginning of each year, I will take, on my iPhone. I love the notes on iPhones. I hate writing crap down on paper. It gets lost. It gets whatever. So my go-to for anything, if I need to remember something for the day, if I need a, if I got a big picture goal, if I've got, for content or whatever, I'm just always in my notes on my iPhone. Life hack. That's an easy one to do. Everybody can do the notes on the iPhone. So I always had a goal from the day I moved out, actually. One, I was never going to depend on anybody, right? And I haven't. And then two, I wanted to be a millionaire by 30 just to show everybody, I made it, right? And so I got lucky in a sense. I mean, I worked my butt off, obviously. But when I was 29, when I sold that big portion of the company, I was a millionaire. I got to take the screenshot of the account. I've got it on the phone. I got to share with mom and dad, hey, hit the goal, I made it. So I was there. So then, the next goal is, 5 mil by 35. We're close. We're getting there.
Already.
We're probably 75% there, so we're close, right? So, but it's good. Set those high goals for yourself, right? Even if you don't hit it, so if you want to be, a millionaire and you get to 800,000, shoot, dude, you're above, 90% of the rest of the population. So that's one thing, setting the goals is important. I'm not one of those guys that, I've got to wake up every morning and do kumbaya around my goal and make sure that I'm, aligning the universe. Like, that's cool if it works for you, like, go for it, right? I've got the goal. I know what it needs to be. Let's get to work. Let's get it done, right? That's me. So I hit the million when I was 29, sorry, a year early. My goal is always to get a house by 30. I went out and bought my first house, which I'm in now, the one I'm about to move out of. So I hit that goal. But the main pivot was, I'm going to buy a nightclub in the middle of COVID, not knowing what the heck's going to happen, right? And so that's really the big money maker right there. So the phone business is good, but you only really make the money when you exit. Like, it makes good money, cash flow, and you pay your employees. But my thing was, since I went organically from 0 stores to 42 stores, my entire career, Every dollar I made was going into a new store. Every dollar I made going to a new store, new one. Because I wasn't able to get loans. You know, I didn't have this big backing from anybody. I didn't know about private equity back then. There was no social media, so I wasn't raising any money. If there was, I didn't know how to do that. I was a nobody. And so all of my growth, I didn't take my first business loan. I started in 2009 into November. I didn't take my first business loan until 2019.
Wow.
I mean, I went a whole decade without raising any funds. And the only reason I did that is because I was about to go broke. I was 7 days away from losing everything. I couldn't make payroll in 7 days if I didn't get that loan. And so, I mean, that was probably the worst. That was probably the lowest part of my life, right? Not maybe the life, but lowest part of my business career.
Your career, yeah.
Yeah. Because I'd worked for a decade, man. And I had built something really good. But the problem that I had got into, I just grew too fast. You know, I went from, I think in 2017 to 2019, I grew like 20 stores in 18 months.
Wow.
And all natural, no fundraising, no nothing. And so
you were using your own capital?
Yeah, that was just reinvesting all the money I had made, right?
It's beautiful.
And so I just did some bad calculations, some sales things dropped, you know, because we're being a franchisee, you're at the mercy of a big corporate, right? If they want to cut promotions for 2 years because they're tired of subsidizing phones, they're going to do it. If they want to raise rate plans because they're not making enough. So, I mean, there was a lot of, being a franchise like that, it was a lot of different moving pieces that you had to juggle. You had to be the politician that played corporate hat right and go to all the events and schmooze everybody. And so it wasn't that I did anything wrong. It was just that, you know, I probably grew a little bit too fast. That was probably the only fault that I had. But just miscalculations, easy to do when you're, you know, at that level. And so I was a week away. I remember exactly, I was in my apartment that I was living in at the time. I couldn't get off my couch. I had experienced the two closest people to me dying. I've experienced a lot of stuff. That was the worst I've ever, I mean, I couldn't eat. I couldn't down anything. I was like, dude, I've worked a decade.
Wow.
And I'm about to be a nobody. I'm about to be on the street again back when I moved out, you know,
Shit.
10 years ago.
Going
and
backwards.
so it was tough. And so it was so crazy. Nobody wanted to give me money. Dude, you're about to die. Why the fuck am I going to give you money for? You're about to be done, gone in a week from now. And so, because, I mean, it would just spiral. If you didn't make payroll, people would quit, this and the other, and you're just, I mean, it would spiral down bad really quick. And so, I mean, this was 2019. This is, what, 3 years? Not that long ago.
Yeah.
And so, so I found a bank out of Utah. I actually got, it's funny, I got a spam email about one of these fundraising. Oh, we can get you this. I think it was by BizSale or whatever it was. Hey, we'll connect you with the bank, blah, blah. So I went to the online application, and sure enough, this bank called me and said, man, you got great cash flow. Yeah, I mean, it's good cash flow, but, I mean, we're just not keeping anything. You can turn it around. Yeah, as soon as your business plan, blah, blah, blah. I sent the business plan. I think the day before I was about to make payroll, they funded it. It's the most crazy thing ever.
No way.
And so there we go. I downsized, closed some of the losing stores that weren't, you know, ramped up yet. Even though we just built them, they hadn't ramped. I mean, we just really analyzed the business and cut what we needed to cut, and got back on track, got back to making money. Like I said, sold during COVID, like a year later, and you know, here we are.
Then the play, nightclub, boom.
Yeah, so then the nightclub. Now I was like, hey, so what are you going to do? Oh, I'm going to go and spend a lot of the money I made. I mean, I did some really good stuff with the money. So, you know, June 2020, I sell the stores, get a big chunk of change. What happened to the stock market in 2020? March, it goes way down.
Yeah.
So come June, it started rebounding. So I threw a lot of money in there. I mean, you can, you know, 2-3x the money there.
Of
I did
course.
some real estate plays. So I really took advantage. I mean, honestly, it sounds really bad to say, COVID was good to me. COVID was really good
It
to
was
me.
good to me, too.
Yeah,
It was one of
COVID
my
was really
best
good. There's a
years
lot-
in business.
People in business, you know, and that's what I've learned too. Like you said, when that whole majority wants to go left, you got to go right. And so that's what I've learned in the market and investing, because now I'm invested in other businesses too that aren't mine. You know, I do some investing in, you know, was a friend of mine or somebody that's pitched me something I believe in.
There's this quote that I like, bro, from Warren Buffett, you know, and I don't really.
The GOAT.
Yeah, I think he's one of the best stock trading dudes.
Yeah.
I mean, he became a billionaire in the stock market.
It's great at
right?
analyzing business, right?
That's what I love about it, right? But he says this. He says, an economy doesn't destroy a business. An economy reveals a business's weaknesses.
Right.
And so, like, we had been operating in we were so integrated with meeting people face to face. The
Right.
idea of buying properties virtually
it's crazy.
seemed completely in our imagination.
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, we started buying houses without looking at them, without meeting a title lady in person, without going in on-person appointments, trying to put the property under contract.
Yeah.
And that's when I realized that we have something here, because we were doing more deals virtually than we were in person. And so we changed our whole business model
It's like,
to a nationwide model where we're able to now practice this model of virtual real estate, not just in San Antonio anymore, but across the entire nation. And so we do deals in all 50 states because of this.
that's crazy.
And it's
That's
just been
awesome.
like a insane pivot for me. But it's like we both experienced
Yeah.
this
At
just
the
in
same time,
different
yeah.
markets,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
Because 2020 was one of our best years in business. And then 2020 Mid 2020, I met my mentor and I flew out to his office, and then he taught me about structure. 2021, I came back, fired half my staff, and then revamped my entire company and made it the way it should have been the entire time. We did the same thing that you did, where instead of focusing on 40 plus stores, we narrowed it down to less, but making more.
That's right.
And not only are we making more, we're paying our people better because our operation is smaller. So the expenses and whatnot, they go down while everything else goes up, which is great, man. It's great. But I love, we have so much in common on that, man.
Yeah, it's crazy. And so that was the pivot, you know, going into the nightclub thing. And then the wild part was I had set a budget. I didn't know anything. I didn't know what any light sound systems cost or any of that stuff. And so I had my budget in mind. We went 4 times over my budget.
Holy crap.
And I was like, geez, are we going to make any money? And sure enough, 8 months we broke the even mark. So, I mean, that's the crazy thing about the nightclub business is like there's no business you can go into and make 100% return in 8 months. Like it's retarded. So, you know, obviously we've done things different, like I said, with the door and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I think that's probably one of the biggest risks I took, and it's paid off, I mean, massive style, right? And not only that, it's done really good for me in my personal brand. Like being in the phone business, nobody knows who you are. Nobody cares who you are.
Yeah.
But being in the nightlife, I mean, everybody wants to be your best friend now. You got people coming out of the woodworks. I can't even go like to a restaurant anymore, you know, without people knowing. And not that I'm like some big celebrity, but a lot of people go to Desire. I mean, I'm talking like I was at the post office.
I've gone to Desire.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to the post office to drop a letter off, and he's like, "You own Desire, right?" I'm like, "Yeah, what's going on, brother?" And so I mean, it's just random everywhere you go. So it's cool. It's different for me because I'm not used to that stuff yet.
Yeah.
But it's cool. It's definitely.
It allows for you to meet people in all walks of life that have different things going on.
I've made so many business connections.
I met you through Mike, and that is a huge connection.
That's how I met
to
Mike.
me.
I wouldn't have met Mike. Mike met him through the club. He came one night. I think it was June. Maybe we've been open a couple of months. And I noticed him because I do. So even though we have somebody that manages our Instagram and stuff, I'm looking at it. You know, I see who tags us in stories. I see who messages us. I see who is in our inbox and our requests and stuff like that. I'm real active in it, right? And so I had seen Mike came. I was like, damn, this guy's got 100,000 followers. Pretty cool. You know, I never heard of him, didn't know who he was. Checked him out a little bit. And I didn't think nothing about it. And I'm never at the club during the daytime. There's nothing really to do during the day, you know, for me to do there. But I happened to be there. I think I was running payroll or something. And I hear the front door open. So I walk out. And there's this guy with his buddy there. And he's like, hey, do y'all want to get Waka Flocka here? Sure. Even on a Saturday? I said, yeah, why? What's wrong with Saturday? No, I've been to 3 clubs already, and they all turned me down. They don't want to do it on Saturday. I mean, yeah, I don't get what's the big deal.
Sure.
Yeah, for sure. Why not? You know, because I'm not a club guy. So that's the cool thing. When I came into this business, I don't have like I don't want to call it the habits or the thinking that, you know, everybody else had. I'm bringing this whole new, fresh mindset into it because I just don't know what I don't know, right? And so Mike walks in, he pitches the Waka Flocka thing. We ended up doing it the night before Halloween. Our record night till today, and we broke records that night. And so he and I just became real good friends, and you know, now he and I are looking to open a club together. He and I are looking at, actually we got a meeting tomorrow. We're looking at buying a steakhouse together tomorrow here in town. You know, we went to the Plugged In event a couple weeks ago, so we travel together now. And he and I
noticed you met my friend Chris the Shark. You know, I'm really close to that guy.
So I didn't know that. No.
Yeah, man.
So I actually bought his mentorship. So I'm mentoring with Chris right now.
Wow.
I had no idea you knew Chris. Yeah.
Yeah, we both run e-commerce businesses, brother.
That's right. Yeah.
He has thousands of stores. I have 300.
He's up to 1,600 now, something like that. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, man. I'll get there one day.
Yeah, no,
I run 300 online stores right now.
I didn't
That's
know
one
that.
of my main businesses, bro.
I'll link up with you.
I have a virtual staffing company. That's what I do mainly.
I knew that. I saw some crazy thing you did on, I don't know if it's Facebook or Instagram. You had this wild fucking party in like the Philippines where you were there, but you weren't there. It was like some metaverse type shit, but it's in real life, right? It was crazy. Yeah, that was
we
awesome.
own a full-blown events convention center in the Philippines, and I have 3 commercial buildings that we converted.
That's wild.
I do. It's just insane. It's insane meeting people, and it's like we've been in the same city, and I've just been wanting to get more people from this city on the map, you know? And so like when I asked Mike, first I asked Mike, this is the story, by the way, before I asked you to be on the podcast, okay? I called Mike and I said, Mike, dude, who do you fucking know that lives in the goddamn Dominion? And he's just like, oh, dude, I just helped my friend Skylar buy a house. I was like, wait, the fucking guy who owns the nightclub? He was like, yeah, man, you know him? I was like, yes, I fucking know him. You introduced me to him, dude. And he was like, oh, yeah, I forgot. Okay, yeah, well, yeah, man. I'm sure he wouldn't mind getting you on the guest list so you can go. I was like, dude, I don't know him like that. So if I do message him, I'm coming with value add, right? And so Mike's like, dude, get him on your podcast. I was like, what?
That's wild,
I was like, well, dude, I mean, like, what's his story and stuff? He gave me a brief overview. And I said, it's got to be the most interesting shit that I've ever heard.
It's crazy.
In a
guy
long
mowing
fucking time.
lawns. The only reason I got in the phone was I run over my phone, right? And then you go from that to, I mean, it's just, it's wild. It seems like some kind of like made up fictional shit. Yeah.
Divine intervention.
No, it
is
does.
what it sounds
yeah.
like, man.
No, for sure.
Dude, so like to put this into closing remarks and what we have here, man. Dude, like what do you hope that people experience going to your club, man? Like what is the thing that you really wish that they leave with?
So obviously, you know, when you go to the club, I want them to have a good time. I don't want them to feel like we're pressuring them to buy stuff. So I mean, the main thing is just having a good. We want to see people smile on their face. That's my main thing. I want to see you walking out, you know, with a big smile on your face. But even more so than that, going past the club. So my goal for the rest of this year, like I said, I told you before the show, I'm working on my social media. I'm going to be coming out with. I want to put a podcast together, so I'm going to get with you on that too.
Oh, that's beautiful, brother.
I don't know if you. So my kind of like nickname that's been crowned upon me is like the money guy or the money man, right?
I love it.
I want to start the Money Man podcast where we have kind of like similar to this, where we just got, you know, business guys that'll come on, whether it's a virtual thing or in person.
You guys make sure that y'all tune in on that.
Yes,
Once the link is available, I'll attach
Skylar
it to
B.
this.
Moon on all the social.
Let's go.
But I'm coming out with the trading course. I really want to come out with resources to help people, right? And like I told you before the show, I don't want to teach people about the complexity of options trading and this and that. I want to go to the everyday guy. I have people every day in my DMs that say, you know, I don't even know how to, where do I trade? What is a trade? What is a stock? And so I want to do that. I want to help the everyday guy get into, whether it's stocks or whether it's, if you want, you know, I'm going to end up doing a mentorship program eventually. I've got tons of people that want to do just phone calls or mentorships or whatever. So right now I'm structuring my back end to where I can handle, you know, I've offloaded, back to that business, the phone business. I closed June 1st on my last, so I don't own any more phone stores. So I am 100% out after 12 and a half years. I'm 100% out of the phone business. So I'm in like a new territory right now. I don't know what the heck to do with myself, right? So I've got a lot going on personally. I'm moving next week, like we talked about.
Congratulations on buying a beautiful home, brother.
It's gorgeous. So the next half of this year, I'm really focusing on setting up myself to where I can be free to really impact people, right? Because I'm, like I said, the first words on the show, I'm a nobody. I'm just a guy that, you know, worked hard and, you know, had some good breaks here and there and got here. So I want to be able to help, you know, that next guy that's out there that just needs a good break or two or needs a mentor, right? So I really want to set myself up to help people, whether it's through trading, whether it's through mentorship, whether it's through, you know, just a phone call or anything I can do. So come to the club and have fun. We'll put a smile on your face. We'll make sure you have a good time. But beyond that, right, the bigger picture for me going forward, I think. And I think that's really what the calling was eventually, right? I had to go through all this stuff. I had to experience it all. I had to go through the crap and had to go through the pain to get here. But now that I'm here, I mean, one of my mentors asked me that. So fine, you wake up one day and you got 20 million or you got 100 million. Then what do? You're just going to sit on a beach all day? I mean, who are you going to impact? And so I think that stuck with me real close, right? How are you going to impact people? What are you going to make a difference, right? Whether it's being enough. At one point, I wanted to be a politician. I don't even get close to that. It's too much crap around that. But I mean, the point, and he told me this. He said, so why do you want to be a politician? And the answer was, well, to help, you know, make people's lives better. We don't have to be a politician to do that, right?
You don't.
You can, especially nowadays with, you know, online courses and trainings and whatever. So that's my real big goal. That's what I'm working on right now. I really, really, you know, I'm quiet right now. A lot of people are asking me to do stuff. And unfortunately, you know, if you come to me today, I'm not ready for it. I don't have those infrastructure. I don't have the stuff, you know, set up that I need to, but I am working on it hard. I mean, I've got people in the background putting together the trading courses that I'm going to be doing, putting together the, you know, the back end of it. But that's my goal. The goal is to really, really help people, you know, understand. And not just I don't necessarily want to work. I've got the big guys, right? And those, you know, they're fine. I can talk to them offline, but I really want to help just the average day guy.
I love that, man.
Yeah.
Impact over income, guys.
Right.
Skylar, dude, I'm so excited that you were on our episode, man.
Brother,
thank you so much for coming through.
It was fun.
Guys, y'all make sure you follow my dude Skylar. I'm going to put his IG tags, everything in the description of the video. So thank you guys so much. Thank you again, Skylar,
brother. Thank you.
See y'all on the next one. Let's go.
Get it.